Yeah. Now, foes. Back to the topic of foes. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
At I was really sad that I didn't get the phrase "Let's rock it." You know, I was a big Power Rangers in Space fan,
Yeah.
so I was just hoping, even if the translators would have put it in the dub or in the sub, I would have been made me smile. But no, I was even deprived of happiness that way.
I will say one thing, and I've said this before. Chainsaw leg for the win. That was pretty cool. For me, anyway, that was pretty cool.
I agree. Plus points for a concur as well.
Creativity. I also have a feeling that the arms are going to be used for utility, and the legs are going to be used for attacking.
Yeah, I think so too, especially since they've gone back to the whole mainly the riders do rider kicks.
Yeah.
There hasn't been really a rider punch in a bit.
Except for Punch Hopper.
Oh yeah,
That's an entirely different subject for the next section of this podcast. But anyway, so I guess your final verdict on foes is not that excited.
I'm gonna give it another episode. I'm fully willing to try and like it, but right now I'm just like, cringe.
At least you get to have the option of skipping it. I have to watch it for the podcast.
I'm so sorry.
I'm personally looking forward to the future of it. I mean, especially I hear that it's like gonna dive more into the history of Kamen Rider in the show itself. With the Kamen Rider, because they're forming a Kamen Rider club, and they're gonna dive more into history. And there's lots of rumors that they might have some cameos, mostly like Kamen Rider.
Isn't it supposed to be the 40th series? The 40th anniversary?
Yeah.
Yep.
Please let there be fives. Please let there be fives. Please let there be fives.
I can't say any like the Heisei Riders, but they could put like the Ichigosu, like they did with the recent movie.
Please,
Let's Go Kamen Rider.
Please let's not have Amazon it. Please let's not have Amazon it.
Sounds like Amazon from Day. Okay, terrible actor.
That'll be the next topic.
That Gokaiger you mentioned.
Yes.
Honestly, Gokaiger has been amazingly brilliant. If only Decade was as good as this.
Yes.
It's like they learned everything on Decade what not to do, and so they're only doing what they should do for Gokaiger.
I think the only flops they've had so far were 3 episodes, and those were filler episodes. But that's
Which
oh god, it's actually I think the one where Luca and Doc switch bodies was actually kind of entertaining. It wasn't really a flop, but it was there were 2 fillers. It's not that it's hard to remember them because they're filler episodes and they're
Jealous.
just lost. They're lost in a sea of just greatness.
Jealous' second episode is one of the fillers.
Oh.
You want to know what was a filler episode? Car Ranger.
Oh. I was terrified.
Actually, that was like the first episode. I was talking to my friend the other day about. I had a bunch of episodes queued up, and he was over visiting right before we went to like AX, and I was talking about Gokaiger, and he was like, "This sounds interesting. Why don't you just show me one of these episodes?" I'm like, sure. And I just loaded up this random episode I had on my computer. I had like a few up, and I clicked on one, and it's that one, and I'm like, I promise it's nothing like this any other time. Bad first experience. And then Game Me Dirty works the rest of the trip.
Anywho, the few episodes that are fillers and are kind of bland and not that awesome, the rest of them are awesome. It's just hard to remember the bad things about Gokaiger.
There's a lot of fan service too. I mean, hell, the last week's episode was just great. But was it last week's episode where they did the whole Amir special dimension where the ninja came in?
That was the week before, actually. Last week was a filler episode.
Oh, right.
That was when Luca and Doc switched bodies.
Yeah. Derp.
Let's go. What you were saying?
Oh, I'm just saying that Gokaiger has been just amazingly solid so far, and I'm really interested to see where they're taking the second half of the series. Also, is it me or is Guy just one of the best, characters that ever happened in any of the Shinken, or I mean, wow, Super Sentai series?
It's not just you. I'm very pleased with Guy. He is. He really reminds me of. He's just reminding me of Shinkenger. Just the Sixth Ranger is just a very happy-go-lucky guy. He's kind of dense, but he's lovable. You don't hate him for any reason. He's refreshing.
I kind of
The
hope he
best part
dies,
is-
actually.
The best part is
That's gonna suck.
No, not because I don't like him or anything. It's just that, like, I had this theory, like, when it first started, because he got his powers from the 3 Rain Super Sentai heroes that all died in previous Super Sentai: Time Fire, the Dragon Ranger, and Abakila. Abare
Yeah.
Killer. And I had this theory that he was going to die at some point because of his connection to those heroes. But that was just a theory.
I mean, it's still possible.
We'll see. I mean, it's from what it looks like. It's only halfway through the series.
Yep. The best part is, though, they got an actual fanboy of Super Sentai to play Guy.
Yeah, that is very.
Have you read some of his posts online about how cool it is being Guy?
I didn't even know that there was a posting like that.
Yeah, he's a huge and total fanboy. And I'm like, oh dear God, it must be hell to work with him. But if I were on Super Sentai, that would be me. Actually, people have come up to me and say, Rose, you're Guy. Don't try to deny it, but you're pretty much Guy.
I could see that.
Here until I remember how awesome Guy is.
I can see that. But yeah, so far, Gokaiger's looking to be pretty good, and Bose is kind of scary. Gotta give it a few more episodes before we can actually hate on it.
I'll remain helpful.
Yeah. Anyway, on to the next topic. Since this is the Kamen Rider Anniversary podcast, we're gonna talk about Kamen Rider in general, what we like and don't like, what our absolute favorite seasons are, and the absolute worst seasons. Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Okay. It's such a wide variety of topic. Just Kamen Rider in general and just go. Way to be putting me on the spot. When I first got into Tokusatsu in general, one of the first things I've watched was a couple Super Sentai, for the obvious reason, the connection to Power Rangers, but it never really stuck with me. I never really had this connection with Super Sentai. It might be because I grew up with Power Rangers. It's just hard to change over to something obviously different. So I found out about Kamen Rider, and then the first one I watched was Kabuto. And it was an interesting concept. I really liked the idea of the solo hero. The mech parts were gone. I never really cared for the mech parts in Super Sentai for the most part. And it was an interesting way to get into it. I never really thought I would even get into it so easily. I thought it was just I was watching it, I was bored with my brother, so I figured it was just something to pass by the time, because I think this was during one of our vacations from high school, and so I had nothing to do. My friends were out of town, I was stuck at home, I had nothing really to do, no video games to play, old sad times were had, and so that's how I first started watching. I watched Kabuto, and then I quickly started hopping on. I moved on to the next series. I started watching Den-O after that, and then I followed with watching Kiva, and then after that I started becoming a masochist and watching Decay.
I'm sorry.
I started forcing my friends to watch it with me, and so I didn't have to watch it by myself anymore. And
didn't have to hate it by yourself.
then I kind of started going backwards. I watched Blade, and I watched Fives, and slowly worked my way through the Heisei era. I haven't watched all of it yet. I still need to watch Kuga, Agito, and I'm going to watch the Hibiki still. Very on and off with that one.
Hibiki's bad.
I have nothing against it, actually. I like how it's so different. I just haven't had enough time to sit down and watch really anything. I haven't been watching a lot of television or anything. I've been on this video game kick as of recent. But anyway, I have to say Double probably left a really good impact on me for the most part. It was something that I watched with my friend. It was like his first experience as well, so it was like an interesting watching it together, watching every week together. It was a very interesting experience. We both fell in love with the characters. Shotaro was someone I wished to be, and Philip. It had a really wide range of casts. I really fell in love with the characters, and it felt like it was going back to like some of the basics, because I've seen, besides some of the Hasty Rares, I've seen some of Black, and that was the most part. And I felt like it was going back to those times in a sense, but also kind of like throwing in this new mix to it, you know, like combined with the best of Heisei and the best of Showa was. And I think it really had a great. Crow said it earlier, but it had like a really great story. It just really came together towards the end, and like I said, it was. I said earlier, it doubled when Philip died at the end.
Whoa! Spoilers, man! Spoilers.
Oh man, we were talking about the end of Kamen Rider O's.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Anybody who's watching the Tokusatsu corner already knows that spoilers are a given, so they already know.
Talking about the weeks anyway. It kind of, I really was really sad at that point. I was in little tears. Me and my friend were like that. We were just sitting in silence for like 10 minutes after the episode before going up the last episode, and it really did leave like a huge impact on it. Beyond that, Blade was also one of my favorites, and I compared Blade to the O's ending. Very similar. I forgot to mention earlier, but they've got the very similar feel to the ending wise. I won't give away too much about Blade since spoilers are not welcomed here.
Spoilers are welcome here. Everybody, there's like a thing, we always say it, like either we say it at the beginning or there's like a little note, there are spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, watch Kamen Rider first, then come back.
Right. Well, Blade had a very similar thing with O's ending, which was towards the end, when Edgy and the purple metal started influencing more, and it became more of a greed. In Blade, it was a kind of the same scenario where one of the characters was a Joker, like because they had this card thing going around, and then the main monster was a Joker.
Yeah.
And using the powers of the card and using the belt, use the power of these cards of the monsters, and then that was slowly turn him into a Joker himself. So that got toward in the show. But I thought the ending had a very similar, powerful ending, but a little bit different from what O's was. It had the moment where, like, to save the world, the Joker became activated, and he was literally going to cause the apocalypse. But the only way to do that is to have more cards out and about, alive. So to do that, the main character, Cosmo, had to become the Joker himself and separate himself from everybody that he knew. So the two Jokers can live in the world and not cause any bad shit to go down. And that has had a good ending that really left an impact on me. So Blade and Double were some of my favorites. Series I dislike, never really disliked the series for the most part. I watched most of them. Some I felt meh about and had problems with, but I really enjoyed for the most part. Even Decade, despite all its problems, I felt I still enjoyed it for the most part. It had moments where it made me squee, like the Blade cameo when he came back.
Whoa. You're saying you haven't disliked Kamen Rider series?
No. I don't
This
really
too is Decade's fault.
You have a very high tolerance policy.
I enjoyed them. I like to see the good rather than the bad. And I know there's problems, but only one series though that I really couldn't finish, and that was Kamen Rider Ryuki. I couldn't stand it for the most part.
Too many riders.
That's not the main problem I had with it, but I felt like I didn't really like the rider versus rider concept. I never really liked how riders became rivals or hated each other. Fives being a five, an example of such. I never liked riders being forced to pit against each other. I thought they were warriors of justice that should work together. And even if they start off kind of like with this strange relationship, like in Double, but I think Double went about it a different way that I liked it more. Was Axel kind of had this, didn't like the town, but in the end, he was still going to work with Double because it's for the better, for the greater good. And eventually he came to better senses of enjoying the town more. And he never really fought against Double, as far as I can remember, at least too often. But yeah, I never really was a big fan of that. And that writer, the whole point of that show was, let's kill all of these characters and only have one standing. And